you've got the top three teams, right? And then you got the basically top three teams in the second tier from 11 to 20. You got 11, 12, and 13. You got Vikings, Broncos, Raiders. Those are all the quarterback-needy teams that you pretty much can peg as quarterback-needy teams, unless you throw the Giants in there. So which one of these teams is going to be left without a quarterback, do you think, in the first round? Give me the final number of it, because you can take three of them out. You know, we're going to go quarterback, and then it's somebody. You know, either somebody's going to trade up for McCarthy, or the Giants will have him drop there, and then that'll be a big moment at 6 to see if he goes there. Which one do you think winds up out of those 7 teams without a quarterback? Could be the Giants. You heard Joe Shane say on Thursday they don't need to take one. So what do you think? What do you think?
The primary trade-up teams, when other teams have been projecting it, because you're going to get a lot of information, obviously, Rich, from teams like I do about players and where people see them and what other teams are going to do. No one's going to give you a really direct answer of what they're going to do themselves. So I would say other teams through the process have believed the 2 main threats to trade up are the Giants and the Vikings. The Raiders also would be on that list, but that's going to be more targeted. And the feeling within the league is the only way they would trade up is if Jaden Daniels is still on the board at number 3, which a lot of people right now think he's going to be gone at number 2. You mentioned the Broncos. My personal opinion, just knowing where they're at from a roster perspective, knowing kind of what people within the league think, I would think that they're a bigger threat to trade back than to trade up. They could certainly surprise me. Sean Payton has traded up in the first round or into the first round in the past year. But if I'm guessing, I'd say they're more likely to trade back. A lot of people think Bo Nix potentially would be a fit there, and you don't need to go up and get him. For the Vikings, they certainly have analyzed every different scenario. And I thought you actually got a little bit of truth serum from Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the GM, the other day when he said, you know, there's several guys that they really like up at the top, and there's a couple other guys that they really like at certain value points. And I think that that's a reflection of, listen, if you asked everybody, the quarterbacks, their agents, where do you want your guy to go? You know, Chicago's built a really nice situation there for Caleb Williams. He's stepping into a really good situation. But a lot of people would say, I'd love my guy to go to Minnesota and play with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and have Kevin O'Connell calling the plays and Brian Flores running the defense. That's a pretty good spot to be in here. And they may think, based on Kevin O'Connell's history here, that they can play with different types of guys. I mean, you just heard the breakdown I gave you on Michael Penix, a guy who, when it's clean, when he's in rhythm, he's really, really good. When it breaks down, you don't totally know what's going to happen. That kind of sounds like Kirk Cousins, who's been playing for the Vikings for the past 7 years. They won a bunch of games, just got $45 million a year from the Atlanta Falcons. So you could play with a Penix in Minnesota. You could play with a Bo Nix, who, you know, with Nix, it's really about what's the upside, because, you know, he was on the full-on Van Wilder plan. He started 61 college games at several different places. You know, a lot of his passes, 2/3 of his completions almost last year within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, he set the completion percentage record, but it was influenced by this quick hit, RPO type of a passing game. But everybody says if you get him around really good weapons, he could be a caretaker type of guy. He's regarded by a lot of people within the league as maybe a 2, maybe upside to like a mid-tier type of a starter. But if you're in Minnesota, you're going, well, we got Jefferson and Addison and Kevin O'Connell. They'll elevate the level of the quarterback. I could see that being a fit. I certainly could see JJ being a fit. Drake May makes sense. You can make the argument Jaden Daniels, he plays a little bit different style in terms of the run element. But we saw Josh Dobbs running around for a few games there before the Pasternaut train ran out of gas. So I think the Minnesota's got a lot of different options here. Trading up absolutely is an option. But Washington, even before Adam Peters said it publicly yesterday, Washington had been putting out signals since going back to the combine that, listen, we're probably going to stay put and take a guy. New England has been much more open, but to the extent that anybody's expecting that, okay, New England's definitely moving, I would guess, Rich, I would make an educated guess here. Nothing's firm. Different things can happen. But I would bet that if New England makes a trade from number 3, it happens on the clock Thursday night in Detroit. Because until they know who goes at number 2, number 1, they don't know who's going to trade in to number 3. And number 2, they don't know if their guy potentially might be the one who's sitting for them to take.
So which of those teams walks away, your best guess? I know you're not usually in the crystal ball business, but which one comes away with no quarterbacks after Thursday night? You could say multiple.
I think
which ones?
I would think based on the fact that there are other teams such as Minnesota that are willing to trade up and get ahead of the Giants, I would say the Giants, unless they make a move up, will be the team that most likely gets beat. Okay. It's going to be a matter of what's the value point at which the Vikings would make a move up if it's not for a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May. If it's for J.J. McCarthy, are they willing to go up to number 4 or perhaps number 5, where Jim Harbaugh might love the idea of somebody trading up and taking McCarthy at number 5 and he gets more picks to build that thing out there in L.A.? It's certainly a possibility. Or they might feel like, you know what, we'll roll the dice and let's see if JJ comes to us at number 11. All those options are on the table, but if I had to guess to answer your question, I'd say it's the Giants.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.